Will state-based currencies work to end the CBDCs? Now, this is one of these debates that's starting right now. Some states are at least talking about the potential to have a state-based currency. Now, wow, we've come a long way here in the United States from the states giving up their currencies to become part of the United States, and essentially now a long history of the US dollar and a federal backed currency. But at least Texas is looking at the proposal of having a Texas currency. I know the proposal has been floated for Florida and other states. So the question becomes, what do we do if we move to a world of state-based currencies? And will this fix the potential issues with CBDCs? And so here is a lot of people's concerns with CBDCs. It's the degree of control and centralization. And potentially, in my case, I worry about the lack of innovation when we go to a CBDC world. We have a central bank digital currency that the bank could basically control how you spend, and if they don't like what you say, they could shut your account down. But then also importantly, with having one person as being the holder and gatekeeper of the entire currency, for perhaps a country as large as the United States, to have that one person decide who gets to spend the money, how they get to spend the money, but also be in charge of innovating as technology continues to change and new things come into being. Will that work well? I like the disruption of a market economy, which this is the opposite of. So there are real concerns around that part of it. Will states be able to work around it? I think it's a real question. I don't know if the federal government's going to tolerate it. The Constitution does talk about coinage and puts that as a federal power. I'm not sure there's been any major challenges to that in our history, right? Because that kind of was part of the deal when the U.S. came together, was the states gave up those independent currencies and all merged together onto the U.S. dollar. And it is part of interstate commerce. Could there be an add-on of a state currency? Perhaps. One of the issues with that, of course, is now that we're in a very international economy. Money is moving around the world very quickly. And having a state-based currency may not be consistent with that speed of movement, right? It's going to be more exchanges of currency. Now, maybe some very large states like Texas, maybe Florida, California, could get away with this, right? They could be a big enough economy that people would trade in and out of their currency. We've certainly seen that previously with countries, especially before the Eurozone. A lot of currencies in Europe, and people made it work. So it could work. The question is, will people trade in that? And if you are trading in your state currency because of issues with the CBDCs, either inflationary pressures or maybe you've been programmed out of not being able to spend, will you be a second-class citizen? And will they somehow prevent you from getting back into the CBDC system? Much like what we have now, we have controls with foreign spending with terrorist nations and terrorist persons, designated persons. U.S. persons are prohibited from dealing with certain organizations. Will similar controls come over CBDCs? So you may have a state-backed currency that is the start of an answer, but you may not be able to trade with somebody on the other side, at least here in the U.S., because the government says that's a blocked person. Will that become a common thing in the future? So I'm not sure at this point that state-backed currencies are the answer. And I'm not sure at the state level we won't have the same type of meddling. Maybe just a different direction. Maybe one point of view would be more favored federally, different point of view would be favored the state, and we may still see everybody feeling like they have to tailor their speech and directions in order to continue to spend currency. It's very concerning, folks. Join me in the comments. Let me know your thoughts. Don't put anything confidential in the comments because other people might see it. But I do welcome you to join me there, especially if you have topics for future videos. And I hope you subscribe to the channel so we can join each other for another video soon. Thanks for tuning in today, folks.